We have a packed schedule today. We've got over 100 people joining us. Let's just jump in and start the party. So let me repeat once again. Yes, we are recording this. We don't know yet if the full recording will be available or a sliced and diced version, but if you're curious to get the slides, we'll be definitely sharing those. At the end, this should take us about an hour. We've calculated an hour. We have time for questions, definitely. And at the end, we have a very special, we already have special announcements, but a special call to action or special announcement. We want to get your vote. If you actually stick to the end, you'll have a say in what happens next in this journey that we're on. So make sure you stick around till the end. Maybe we need to do a proper introduction. Jochem, a 2-line summary bio. Who are you? What do you do? And what brings you to this amazing webinar today?
I think most of our audience has seen some version of me online already. We've been cracking at one of the hardest problems in the enterprise world for almost a decade now, trying to help teams organize around their journeys and basically be able to drive strategy, but also impact the customer experience together, putting journeys at the heart of it. First, we were a high-end consulting firm, and we realized there wasn't anything out there to actually do this at scale beyond like whiteboards, where it's beautiful to map out a bunch of journeys. But to get organized around them, we realized you need proper tooling to do that. So we set out to build it, and today marks a little 2-year mark in that history. And we're going to announce the new brand today. But like new code, new design, amazing. But it comes with a whole new capability and some things that are planned. So I'm excited to bring that to the world. And I'm very thankful for you to host us and ask us questions and figure out what is the next thing of journey management.
Just 2 years. It's amazing what you've achieved in those 2 years. Just imagine how far down the line you'll be when we're 5 years down the line. I'm really looking forward to that. So let me also say hi to everybody. I'm Mark Fontijn. You might have seen my face or heard my voice on a thing called the Service Design Show, which is, amongst many things, a platform for the service design community to unite, to get inspired, to connect with each other. I've been publishing interviews with service design thought leaders for the last 6 years. We're reaching episode 200 very soon. And next to that, I organize a community for in-house service design professionals called The Circle, where we commiserate and what else? We inspire each other, give support, and share best practices. So if you're an in-house service designer and want to hang around with some really amazing folks, then The Circle might be something for you. But that wraps up our intro. And Jochem, I think you had an overview of what we're going to reveal today. Could you bring it up?
Sure. So I think we're going to start introducing a new design language, a new brand, which has been, I think, about 6 months in the making. And there's a little wink to our beloved Triple Diamond. Some hate it, some love it. But any company goes through 3 stages of the customer experience improvement or customer experience management process, from problem discovery to solution delivery. So however you want to put it, this is actually what journeys tie together. So today we're going to do 4 things. I actually don't have them on the screen, but I'll just do a little voiceover. So we're going to introduce journey governance. And on that note, we're going to make for everyone journey mapping free, but I'll tell you all about that in a second. And we're going to reveal the brand new capabilities to actually start linking your business goals and your journeys together. And I'm actually going to show you around in TheyDo today. And we're rolling that out over the coming weeks to your workspaces. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is Journey AI, how you can stop doing all the groundwork and start to manage the experience and use your creative brains to actually solve problems for your customers, create better experiences for them, rather than to just be focused on figuring out what the current state is, how to map it out, and who should be looking at what. So all of that we're gonna introduce, and I think those are like 4. And then the spoiler Mark shared at the end, we want to bring everyone close into it, but we'll get there in the end. So these 4 things we're gonna do today. So Mark, take the lead, and
Yes,
let me know
yes,
how you
yes.
want to do it.
I had added them in the chat. If you want to use the chat, please do. If you want to ask a question, use the specific Q&A tab, because it will be easier for me to monitor, and we welcome questions. So make sure to use that Q&A feature. In the chat, I've posted 1, 2, 3, and 4, just to get a sense of who's here and what you're looking forward to. Which of these 4 items are you most interested in? Let's do a quick poll. I wish I could do the poll, but I can't. So we'll do just the random chat. Alexander is looking forward to number 4. Helen, oh, there we goes. 2, 1, 4, 3, and 2. Yes, yeah, 1. Oh, 1 and 4. We have a mixed, all of the above. All. Harold is here. Nice to see Harold as well. Johan, mixed crowd. So I think everything is going to be interested, but obviously the AI stuff, everybody wants to know all these things. But maybe a tiny bit of history. You and I go back to about 6 months when we started our journey. We started a partnership between TheyDo and the Service Design Show. And we started talking about journey management. We introduced a journey management index. We did some YouTube live sessions under the umbrella of Journey Management Mastery, which we're going to continue for sure. We did a few webinars. And now I was just getting used to the term journey management. Now you're coming up with journey governance. Johan, are you going to make our world even more confusing? What's the deal?
I think we should keep it rather simple, but here's what's going on. So we've been running the Journey Management Index to figure out like where people are in their road towards journey excellence, so to say. And what we figured out is like everyone has a version of mapping, right? They're introducing processes around it, and they're trying to get a basic way of working around journeys that just scales beyond the project. I think most of us are already doing it, and are ready for something next. And that's where we actually came in with management capabilities to bring those opportunities and to start prioritizing them and bring a workflow into your company that can say, hey, here's our rituals, here's the way that we prioritize, and here's how we align the different roadmaps from our teams. So that's what we call management. But as we uncovered more and more, what we now see, and that is what we're going to introduce, is the next level. Basically what's behind that is to have full control over your journeys, to have full ownership, but also to break it down all the way from your senior leadership all the way down to your journey. So what you will see is that as your organization grows in maturity and more teams are starting to align using journeys, you get a whole set of different challenges. Who can see what? In some companies, there's very sophisticated strategic information in those journeys. And because you're a public traded company, that doesn't mean that everyone is supposed to see that. So that comes with some responsibilities. But on the other hand, it also brings a notion of an end-to-end framework, not just like end-to-end customer experience framework, but an end-to-end framework, like who's responsible for what across the teams, across the organization, and is able to drive journeys on every level of the company. Now, there's a bunch of capabilities I'll show in a second, but what we have found is that on the way to maturity, like you can see it in like the mapping stage, the management stage, and the governance stage, and you need a bit of all to do this at scale. So of course, we'll be focused on journey management, but we're also going to bring a layer on top of that. So you can do full governance for the biggest organizations. And that's going to be important to make this actually stick, not have a bunch of teams, like 3 to 4 to 5 teams in, let's say, customer experience or service design collaborate, but to actually bring the rest of the business in. And I think that is, especially for service designers, something they've been doing in many different tools in many different ways for a long time. But once you have a certain level of journeys in your company, you can actually start bringing that in the mix on top of them rather than in a separate environment. So we'll have a chat about that, but basically like what our research has shown, what the Journey Management Index has shown is like, there is basically a governance need to actually make this happen at the organizational level.
So can you unpack governance for a moment? Because that seems like it's an interesting, exciting term. What does that mean for you? What do you see as governance?
So the simplest thing is when you are starting to do your journey work, who owns a customer journey? It's probably the one who started the project. But as you move up, and you understand the whole customer lifecycle, you can't just say like you own the lifecycle or you are responsible for, let's say, the awareness stage or becoming a customer onboarding. It's more cross-functional than that. So what we now see is the mature organization that we work with, they bring in, let's say, their customer lifecycle model, their journey framework, but they start to think about who's responsible for insights, who's responsible for journey quality, who's responsible for alignment, who's responsible for strategic decision-making. And those roles can be different things to different people. But once you start to understand that in the context of your customer experience, your customer lifecycle model, you can actually understand who's responsible for what. And we will design some tools to give those people the insights, the data, the priorities, and the overviews they need to actually do their work. And then their teams and our teams can actually still work in our journeys, but everything is linked rather than still all over the place. So that is the way I think about governance. And it will also be better reporting up. So I've heard, especially when I was in the US last week, talking to all these CX leaders, they need to not only show the impact they're creating, but mostly like, why are we doing it? And answer questions, how are we doing it? And who is working on what?
Yeah, I'm going to, for everybody who's tuned in, we haven't scripted this. This is going to be very improvised, and I'm going to try to be the voice of the audience today. So Johan, who is going to be sort of who do you foresee being the end user, the customer of like the governance features or the governance capabilities? Who's going to use that?
Maybe we should just take one.
Sure.
Take one, dig in. I'll show you around. We're going to launch goal tracking. I think that's the easiest way to think about this. So,
okay. So we're jumping from 1 to 3. That's great. Let's do it and illustrate journey governance.
Because governance means that you're going to be driving this end to end. Your company has annual goals. In most organizations that start with journey management, there's quarterly goals that get defined top down. But what you actually want to do is use your journeys to influence those goals and to say, no, this is what our customer needs are. This is how we are actually trying to impact that. And this is how it aligns with the bigger picture that our company is aiming to achieve this year. So who sets those goals in your organization? It's certainly not the service design team. At best, maybe it is some experienced leadership that has customer-centric goals, but in reality and in practice, it means like there's a lot of revenue goals and we just need to meet them, or there's product-centric goals that maybe not understand the whole customer experience. And I think that is the essential bit that you want to bring in. So it's fine if your senior leadership team sets the goals, but like we uncovered like over the last few months, having Florian on the show, talking about it, digging in the index, is that you actually want your journeys to start informing those goals. So that is actually what we're launching. So You want me to just show that and give an example of that?
And let's go. Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to jump into TheyDo, and
yes,
or are
I
we?
think,
Yes, sort
why
of.
not?
We're going to see some features in TheyDo.
Why not? Okay, journeys, right? Everyone, we're still on page with the journeys. In TheyDo, this is a journey. And so far, most of you, especially our users, our customers, created a lot of journeys, structured them against a customer life cycle, and made sure that actually their journey quality is great. And they've figured out a way to capture these opportunities. So this is one opportunity. Now, on a journey level, things might be obvious, right? What are my opportunities? And then looking at like the gradient here or the matrix here, like what should we focus on? Nice and good. But as the journey can like cover many stages, it is not necessarily clear to everyone we should focus on the targeted campaigns or the community engagement or a referral program. Those are all opportunities in this getting a mobile subscription journey. Now, the pinnacle of this would be to say, hey, as a company, what are the goals that we set out to achieve this year, this quarter? And we still call it challenges, by the way. This is a shout out to everyone. We probably will call it goals soon, but it's still called challenges. Anyway, we are bringing this to everyone. So making sure that you can actually have your challenge defined. So we want to acquire 100,000 new subscribers within the next fiscal year. Okay, great. That's your goal. So now, what if you start linking your opportunities from your journeys against that goal? And obviously, I've done that here already, but you can start bringing them in. You can start bringing in those opportunities that we just saw, the targeted account, target. Anyway, I think you get the drift, right? I'm going to bring my opportunities to my challenge. I'm going to look at the solutions that people are working on. I can do it backwards and understand like what are the journeys that they're coming from? What are they? But also, and this is interesting, I can set the owners, right? I can say like what is actually the goal we want to achieve? Who owns this? Maybe it's a
who owns what? What will so this is we're looking at the
acquire 100,000 new subscribers.
Yeah, that's going to be a goal.
That's your goal, right?
Exactly.
You want to achieve that.
And somebody is responsible. Yeah.
Exactly. And someone is responsible. So you can make your goals big or small, but someone is responsible. Usually someone higher up in the chain. But as you know, within your opportunities, we have the same, right? We have people responsible for their opportunities in their journeys. So you can start to make the map and across the different teams say, hey, this opportunity is actually owned by someone in engineering or in product. And now all of a sudden, I'm starting to build out my map from my journeys because these opportunities are linked to my journeys, if you remember what TheyDo does for you. And then I can actually start to link that back to my goals. So breaking down a big one into smaller chunks. And I think if you're paying attention, what you're seeing here, we're actually bringing opportunity solution trees against your goals. But instead of doing it just on a strategic level, they're linked to your customer experience. So once something gets shipped, you know exactly what it will impact and bringing that all together.
So, yeah, am I correct to say that this is going to be a very important piece of the puzzle for, let's stick to the service design community or the CX community to actually, it's not quantify, but make tangible which business value they're contributing to? Because this is one of the big pain points we've been hearing. Like, we're working on these journeys and everybody understands that focusing on the customer experience is important. But in the end, there's always the question like, okay, how is this contributing to the top or the bottom line? And this is going to help to create that bridge between super low level, almost touch point level initiatives, opportunities to, all right, as a business, we're trying to grow by 30% in revenue each year. It's going to complete that cycle.
Exactly. So I'm back in the journey now, following your path, searching for deals online, talking to my friends, go to the local store, call providers. Like, those can be like your steps, your touch points, even not, some of them are not even things you can measure, But say this is a touch point, there is your targeted campaign opportunity. Can also go the other way around. Like, hey, I found this opportunity, but to what goal, challenge, OKR should I actually link it to?
Exactly.
So now I can bring it up, submit it. Doesn't mean that people accept it and immediately start working on it, but I'm making the connections to actually make sure that the whole vertical in the organization is linked together.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess this is also like, it makes you, as a service design professional, accountable for thinking about what are the opportunities that you want to pursue, because you might see it sometimes feels these days that you're just pursuing an opportunity that feels right, but you can't really link it to a business objective. And
That's right.
And here, like, if you see an opportunity and you cannot connect it to a business goal, then at least you need to have a conversation with somebody inside the organization.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is, and this is also how we use it internally and work with our most sophisticated customers, really, is to say, hey, what are these goals then that you have? And then what opportunities do you see? And if you then plot them on, let's say, the customer and the business value, like, does this still make sense? We have 5 here. Should we add more? Is this a relevant one, or should we? And it frames the discussion. And
Yeah,
I think this is the key to unlocking a part of journey governance, not all, but like, this is the first step towards that.
now, one thing that will happen is that other people will take a seat at the table, because working on the journeys, that's primarily a job of, let's say, the service design professionals. But when you start talking about goals, you'll be inviting other people into the room who don't necessarily have to have even an insight or understanding into the journeys, correct?
Exactly. I think this is a nice, more visual way of showing that, right? Traditional organization, the business leader sets the goals. I mean, we can all agree that in the future you want to have that way more dynamic. But anyway, this is how it gets done. But you can't say, then let's focus on this journey. You need to be one step down and say, like, what our customers need? What are the opportunities we then see? What are the solutions people are working on? And that is a back and forth process. It's not linear. You like uncover your solutions, you do experiments, you test out things in the wild, understand what works, then you ship it, then you measure if it works. But if the whole tree is linked,
exactly,
you can go back to your business leader and say, hey,
exactly,
this is what we tried, this worked, this didn't, here's how the new journey looks like, and this is actually what happened in the meantime.
Beautiful. Let's go over really quickly some of the questions which are related to this stuff. Some are very practical, so maybe we can do them quickly. Matt asks, can goals be nested?
Yes, so that is, we're like gonna roll this out first version, but we have some more ideas on tracking progress, nesting them so that you can have multiple goals. You can group and cluster them together. So that's the first way to do it right now. So you can just say, hey, we have our, I don't know, revenue group of goals. So a bunch of these goals will be linked to my revenue group, which you can then create. So there's many ways that you can start to bring your company goal hierarchy in here in a way.
But the nesting isn't yet part of the initial release. No,
not like the nesting that you saw here. So let's say the opportunity nesting, what you see.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what Matt was referring to. Yeah.
Right. So you should be able to group them. If you want to have nesting, stick with us, test it out, give us your feedback, and our team will be working on that.
All right. Other practical question from
in the beginning, you said what a journey it was, right? 2 years. We had a little laugh internally today. Obviously, Figma is a big inspiration to us as designers. They've been like building Figma stealth 3 years before they launched to the public. So we kind of did none of that, and we're like 2 years in. So nesting challenges, I'm sure we're going to build that, but we take the other road. We just ship once it's useful and then build it out as we go.
I think people absolutely appreciate that. And that's allowing you to grow based on what people want and need and how they are actually using this. So quick question from Fabian is, can opportunities be linked to multiple goals?
Yes, of course.
All right. Okay. I'll do them very quickly. Nimish asks, I saw that the goal status as on track. Does it mean that we can measure the impact as well in TheyDo? I'm assuming that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, that's what we're going after. Like the next step will be you have your beautiful journey metrics, but actually we can also start pulling them in. So we actually know like here's an NPS, here's a conversion rate metric, here's an attach rate for a certain offer. We're going to bring that in and we're going to track progress against that. So, but that feedback loop, I mean, that's the holy grail of journey management, right? That we can do that end to end. I'll get to that in a sec because I have some other things about data and integrations that I'll share today. That is what we're building towards, to complete the feedback loop and make sure that everything goes automatic. Everyone involved knows what happened, what has happened, and what impacted what. We're going to get there. We're not there yet.
All right. So that's a question from Niels, but we'll get there in a second. When is this rolling out? When will people be able to play around with this stuff?
So early access starts next week. We'll probably start rolling it out the week after. So DM us if you want to be part of that. July 6th is, I think, the release date. And then you will have early access to your workspaces.
Alrighty. So we started discussing journey governance, then we jumped into goal tracking. Awesome to see what you're working on. If we go back to journey governance, is there anything else that you feel we should have addressed but haven't done so yet around that?
Yeah, so I think we skipped one actually. So I'll just move there first. So actually what we wanted to do is to talk about, hang on, I'll just show it. The other end of the spectrum, the mapping part. So we need quality journeys, right? There's no way around that. You can't manage your journeys if you don't know what's going on in the customer experience. So we have journey mapping tools to do that. But so has everyone else. You can map a journey in Figma, Miro, Smaply, wherever you want. And some teams, they don't have the luxury of a mature journey-centric vision from the top of their company. So they need to start paving the way internally to do this right. And what we see, there is a lot of teams that are ready for management, getting into a way of thinking about governance. But the first thing they do is take everything off the whiteboard, everything off the PDF, everything off the Excel, PowerPoint, other tools that have been mapping out their journeys. It's hard work. It's a mess. It's like all over the place. So, of course, if you're there in your organization, then we're going to help you bring all of that in. But to help everyone in the broader community who's starting this up, but also organizations who are new to this, we're going to make journey mapping free. So our mapping capabilities will be free forever. So you can start in the right way because you can start making those connections between your insights, your opportunities, and your solutions in your journeys using our mapping engine. So right now, our freemium offering had like 3 journeys. So it was a nice way to test out TheyDo, but not really valuable. We're just going to add a whole more. So there's about 20 now free for you to use. So everyone who's serious about starting up, but doesn't yet have the rest of the organization with him or her, can start doing this. So that is something that we've uncovered as well. Get you set up for a proper start. You can still export everything out of TheyDo if it's not gonna work for you, but that is what we actually want to bring to the world. So part of this new brand, we're going to make journey mapping free forever.
Woohoo! And now I'm missing my soundboard that I've been using in YouTube live streams. Yes, round of applause. So this is going to allow people to start using TheyDo, knowing that sort of the what is it? The flag on the top of the mountain or somewhere down the horizon. They want to get towards management. They want to get towards governance, but they know it might take a while. It might take a few years, but at least in this way, they are starting to build their journeys on a very solid foundation that allows them to grow and scale as they basically when the organization starts to mature.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yes, because
I'm
we've seen
on
so many
fire today.
people.
Let's
Yes, no, that's exactly the right way. There are so many folks that, yes, I can see this. It is clear to me that putting journeys at the heart of it all is just going to help us be more efficient, drive better outcomes for our customers, for the business. But yeah, we need to build that out internally. So how can we start? And you probably don't want to do that in like a one-dimensional visualization tool. You actually want to start making those connections.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm really curious to see what the experience will be from people who are used to building journeys in Google Sheets, in InDesign, in Figma, and then using a dedicated journey mapping tool. And again, like you said, there are more journey mapping tools out there. But I think TheyDo is really on a mission to move away from mapping and move into management and governance and really take the rest of the organization with you. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Nice.
I saw a question. When will the free offering be available?
Right now, go to the website.
Woohoo!
You will see
Look
it.
at that.
We pushed it live this morning. No, this afternoon. So have a look. We are launching our new brand with the website first. Tomorrow we'll celebrate with some of our customers on social in our community. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff coming, but the website is now up to date, I would say. So have a look, check it out, and yeah, see you in TheyDo. And also let me know, like, there's probably a few things that are not available in the mapping plan that you would like to have there. So we're still fine-tuning a little bit, understanding how to get the right value, but we are a business. We should make money out of the licenses we sell. So at some point, TheyDo is paid, but like that is on the management level and the governance plans, but mapping should be free for all.
Cool. That's awesome. Look at that. Again, curious where you'll be in another 2 years. Free mapping for everybody, forever. Journey governance, that's cool. Goal tracking, awesome as well. I have a question around this, but maybe you have something in mind that you want to address next.
On goal tracking, you can ask a few things on goal tracking. I think we have time.
So there were a few questions. You have a percentage here, 53%. And obviously that brings the question, like, where and how does the tracking happen? Does it work automatically? Is there some kind of magic voodoo behind this? How do you know? There was a question related to this where the status of a goal was, I think, on track. Like, how is the machine fed so that it can spit out 53% number?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So actually it cascades down. So a solution, or let's say an opportunity, has multiple solutions. What we typically see is like there's features, there's comms, there's something in maybe your process or operations that you want to change. So an opportunity typically has multiple solutions. They have a certain progress against how you define your progress in TheyDo, right? Maybe it's like research, validated, plans, in development, delivered, right? That's on solution level. Now, if you add some of those to your opportunity will start to track the collective progress. But if you add your opportunity to a goal, a challenge, an OKR, that will cascade up, and that is actually the way you capture progress. So the only thing you need to take care of is how are we doing with our solution work, and understand how it actually builds up to impacting the business challenge. So that is how it cascades up. So for those who are paying attention closely, you will have that on the opportunity level, right? The overall progress based on the solution progress that is there. And then when we're rolling this out, we're going to build this into your challenges so that on every challenge you would have the same. Now, one thing that is coming as well, we're building it at the moment, and I'll bring it up here, is something we call semantic status very detailed, but I love it. It's actually helping you to understand a specific status, how that actually aligns with your workflow. So basically you can say like in progress or completed, but there's like 5 different things we call in progress: planned, researching, invalidation, experimenting with. They're all belonging to the in progress bucket. So we're going to help you to really craft your own way of working so that everything is linked in the way you already work.
Cool. There was a question related to this, and I'm just going to shoot all these questions at you. From Dan, how does this all work with non-quantitative goals? We work on government services, so we have no sales or growth metrics, but more aligned on quality of experience. I'm assuming that you also have a lot of non-profit organizations using TheyDo.
Yes. So TheyDo is basically like a design system for journeys, or a journey system for experience management, however you want to call it. So taking the design system analogy, we trade in building blocks. So what you will see here is that one of the building blocks is your goals, one is the opportunities, and one are the solutions. And then you have your metrics, and obviously the journey is the glue that ties it all together. So if you have non-tangible goals, you can define non-tangible goals and still run a customer-centric progress of figuring out what the customer needs are, what are the opportunities we're going to go after. In a sales organization, can be very specific. We want to hit a certain revenue target, but in a non-gov, can be like, we want to make people feel generally happy when interacting with us. But then still, that means that there is some like baseline in place that you can start working against. So it's all about how you define your goals. We just provide you with the building blocks to make a system that actually runs on your journeys. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that's the easiest way to think about it.
Yep. You don't have to have numbers and revenue goals, targets. This is also an interesting one by anonymous attendee. I love that name. Congratulations to your parents. Governance will fundamentally challenge established inefficient processes. Any tips on how to do the hard sell internally?
Yes. Make a case. 1, 2, don't do too many, but actually make a case like, this is what I want to impact. Here's how we got to work. Here's how my journeys, my opportunities link back to that goal, that thing we wanted to impact. And this is actually the result of that. So we help you to capture that. We help you to turn that into something you can put in front of people, to also make it data-driven, to also make it based on your real insights. And if you have 1 or 2 of those, I've seen many teams get the commitment to do more of that. So I think that's really the easiest way. Of course, we can do demos, we can show and tell, and can learn from others. But the best way is to just get started and show the value of the work you do.
Yeah, so I think the part of the answer already lies in the question. When you are able to pinpoint and show out inefficiencies in processes, in general, organizations are quite interested in minimizing inefficiencies. So that's going to challenge some aspects, but usually that's a good starting point. Yeah.
Right. The best way, also like one thing that I've seen most teams do well, is there needs to be a baseline that is measurable or agreed upon. Like you can't say we can't increase our decrease our inefficiencies and then do some stuff and then say, here, it's better, but you need to have a starting point, a baseline, or some frustration. Like maybe there's a common frustration that everyone talks about. Just give some words to that and improve it. It can be of help, but there needs to be something in place to go from.
Yeah, so one of the things I've seen is that if you really need to start from scratch and build a case, pick something where there are already actual costs involved. And a simple example, if you know the number of phone calls to your call center regarding a complaint about the bill, monthly bill, you know the number of calls, you know what the costs are of fixing that issue. Take things that are already existing and already hurt the organization, because that's real, tangible, and easy to work with. Johan, before our time runs out, I know a lot of people mentioned number 4 in the chat. We haven't addressed that. There are still some open questions. I see you, people. I hear you. I'm not ignoring you, but we just have more to share, and I'm sure more questions will come. So obviously, you jumped on the AI bandwagon.
Yes, of course. We're going to introduce a bigger vision to everyone, but I just wanted to take this moment to give a little sneak peek into what's coming. So this will not be on the website tomorrow. This is not going to be something that you will see in the wild yet, but you will see it here. We're going to do a bunch of really cool stuff. And we actually have our own machine learning engineers in our team. We're building some specific tooling around journeys. And we're going to solve some of the big problems that take a lot of time. So the first one, and I'm going to show 3 of them today. The first one is actually that starting from scratch can be daunting, like staring at that blank journey, doing that project. And we've been there before, right? It's, I have so many insights. I have so many alleys to go on. Like, where does my journey start and end? But we know from the thousands, maybe the tens of thousands of journeys that we've seen, there are some patterns and there are some common things that most of us use. So with AI, we can skip a whole lot of templating, a whole lot of helping out. We can just say, hey, what is the journey you're going to build? Are you an insurance company? Do you do a claims handling journey for car damage? All right. And here we go. Here's the basic journey for you. We already know a bunch of steps. We probably know what the customer experience is like. Here are actually some things people struggle with. So you get a template. It's pretty accurate, not great. I mean, it's still not yours, but it's pretty accurate. So solving the blank canvas problem will be coming to all of us, also on the free mapping plan, so that you don't need to think about doing the groundwork, the structuring, staring into the blank canvas. You can actually understand what the customer experience is like and bring those insights, bring those data into the mix to understand how people go through a customer journey. So that is the first thing that we're building. But the next thing, and I think that is more interesting, for those who are using TheyDo, you're familiar with the concept of building blocks, but any insight, any opportunity, any solution can be linked to many different steps. And you can build out your graph, build out your knowledge, build out the relations, the dependencies across these journeys. Now, if you do a new journey, whether you generate it or you map it out yourself, the next thing you want to do from, let's say we talk to Florian, who has like tens of thousands of insights in their knowledge hub in TheyDo, you don't want to go through all of that and start to think about which insight is relevant for that new journey, because there's probably already some insights, some data available. So we're going to skip that. And we're going to say, hey, we are going to link that for you. So we're going to fetch from the database exactly the pains, the gains, the quotes that are probably going to be in this journey. So you don't need to do that thinking. You can obviously correct, you can generate it again, but we'll do the search and find for you, because that takes a lot of time. But actually what you want to do is fill in the gaps, look at the gaps and find those opportunities.
So one question around this, I'm doing some research. I mapped the journey. I find an opportunity, and I'm struggling to connect. No, I'm finding an insight. Like, what do I want to find? The opportunity or the other journeys? Like, what's the struggle here?
So what we see a lot of teams do is we create a customer journey. Let's take the claims handling journey. Create one for cars, right? Someone is insured, they have car damage, and they need to get reimbursed, or they need to file the paperwork. Like that's a whole set of journeys actually, but let's take a customer journey around that. And we're mapping that out, and we have done a good job. We understand what the customers go through. We have the insights, we have the data, we understand what their pains, frustrations with our service currently are. Now the next team starts, but they don't do car. they do damage on homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they start to map it out. They start to do it. But the insights around the service being crappy or the interface of the mobile app to file receipts is not working, that's a common opportunity across many of those journeys, or the insights around that, they can be fine. So what typically teams do is, like, without them or each other knowing, they map that out, they bring all that together, like, and when you look at those journeys, they're pretty similar. So we're going to help you to skip all that and make sure that if there are already known insights that are relevant to you, they will be there for you, rather than for you to have a look and spend a whole lot of time uncovering what was already known.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. You had a third one as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to do a whole lot, but I'll just do one more today. And that is actually the next thing, where prioritizing the impact and analyzing your opportunities come in. So this is a little sneak peek, no visual movement here, but what you said is true. Once you have your journeys mapped, once you know your insights and you have your data, the next thing would be to analyze your opportunities and to think, what is actually something that we can improve? Also knowing all the other journeys, also knowing what other teams are busy with, also knowing what goals I actually have. So TheyDo is going to help you to make that first suggestion. Say, hey, here's actually an opportunity that might be more impactful than this other one. So we're going to be your perfect analyst doing the journey analytics work for you, understanding how all these things fit together, and suggest what the opportunities are. And then, of course, show you how everything is linked so that you can be trusting your journeys. But this is actually what will unlock the actual value, so that you get to map your journeys, collect the customer insights, because that's ongoing. But then once you have a base system in place, it starts to work for you. It starts to produce opportunities, it starts to help you prioritize, and it starts to do all the work that you actually want to skip.
Yeah, it becomes an analyst. I don't know if you already can share something about this, but I'm specifically interested in the how in this case. How would an AI system be able to prioritize?
So if you look at the large language models, what they're actually really good at is speed. So they are looking at text, like, I don't know how much faster than human beings, and they can make connections based on language models. Now, if you just make a journey flat and look at it, it's almost like a spreadsheet, right? You have your horizontal time and then your lanes. So we're looking at a customer journey, which is flat. An AI can read that and can understand based on the language that's there, what are the opportunities. I think if you just put in all the copy of your journey in ChatGPT and ask what are the opportunities, it will spit out 3. So that is possible. That's the easy part. But where the hard part comes in is that journeys are interconnected. So your insights are linked to many journey steps. Your data is linked to coming from different touch points at the same time. So that is what we call the graph. Basically have the flat journey, but then the deep level. And this is actually what we're building. So if we know you have 120 journeys, you're an insurance company, and your biggest opportunities revolve around the time you take to resolve a claim, and a lot of people are working on that, then any new insight that is related to that will get automatically more impact into your, in this case, opportunities. And building that model, training it so it's sophisticated, so it works for insurance, for banking, for healthcare, for you, that is what we're going to set out to do. It will not be perfect from day one, but it will be like 100 times faster than you going through 20 journeys, make the connections, see what actually you come up with. You can do it like this.
So let's ask the devil's advocate AI question around here. A lot of user researchers might think now we're going out of a job, but I can also imagine that this would help to accelerate and show where more human-based research is needed. So, like, we know 98% of this journey but here's the 2% where you as a researcher can make a difference. Do you see this
I've
helping
been
out
in the UX research shoes myself for a few years. I don't know about you guys, if there are some in the audience, but the best part of the work is to design a beautiful question, is to design your interview in such a way that you're getting the most valuable information from a conversation. And it is not about going through your script, interviewing 20 people, figuring out what they all have in common, looking at the patterns, coming up with the 4 insights. You can outsource that to a computer, to AI, to tools like Dovetail, to, GPT if you want. But what you want to do is, like, in the business context, figure out what to ask so that you get this novel insight that can help you design something, or that can help your teams design something that people go like, I'm so glad you did that. I'm so happy you did that. And I hope we nailed it with this one, because that's also what we asked our customers. Like, what about AI? Of course, in the boardroom, it's a topic. People want to have tools that have AI. It's important in the enterprise. But we decided not to jump on the bandwagon like 3 months ago when all the hype was there, but to really think through, like, how can we make working with journeys effortlessly, making you productive, but actually help you to focus on what you do best, which is creative problem solving. And that's actually what we are here to solve. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's
partially. Thank you for this elaboration. Maybe if I simplify my question, do you see a risk that AI will be the journey spit out by AI will look so convincing that people will skip the research step? This is obviously what we see also in ChatGPT. Like, it tells you some very convincing stuff that you sort of take for granted. Just curious, are you thinking about that, and how do you see that?
Well, as a designer, I like to, refresh to let Mid-Journey design all my steps in my journey, right? To make sure that it looks amazing on brand and everything flows. So I can have a lot of fun with that, spending not on research. But to answer your question specifically, maybe on the short term, that is true. But to make something of impact, to make something great, to deliver an experience that is memorable to your company, I think you still need to understand on a more deeper level and outpace your competition by understanding who your users are, who your customers are, what drives them, and what is behind that. And if we're all going to outsource that, we're all going to come up with the same insights. We're all going to come up with the same kind of solutions, and it will regress to a mean that is not interesting. So then again, human creativity comes back. So I'm not convinced on the long term that will happen, as long as we're like human beings.
So we're going to revise this question and revisit this question in half a year, because what you're saying is absolutely true. As long as you're aware of the value that UX researchers, service designers are adding, put this powerful tool in the hands of managers, they will just see a cost saving and they'll say 95% of the journey is correct. Like, let's ship it, let's run. And in the long term, I think you're absolutely right. But this is, again,
but who's going to design the new service then?
I'm going to assume that managers and business leaders will look for AI to provide that solution as well.
Yeah. So, and if that is true, like if it all works like that, then we have AI analyzing the work of other AI where humans are like tapping into that. Yeah, I think if that role will be true, we can all pack up and do something else. But it will take a decade or maybe more to actually reach that part. Until that, we're highly inefficient human beings trying to align on very detailed matters in large organizations. So we need visual tools to prioritize, to do our work, to align, collaborate. And I think that is still true today, and it will still be true in the coming 10 years.
Johan, we have officially 3 minutes left. I think we'll stick around for a bit longer to answer some of the questions in the Q&A. But before we wrap up the official part, we promised to end with another banger. Thanks for sharing this AI stuff. Super interesting. Obviously, there's a question, when will it be available? You said it's still in the works. I don't know if you want to pinpoint yourself on a timeline publicly.
We're building it now. Waitlist will be next week or two, I think. Then you can sign up for that, and you'll be a little bit more closer in the loop, early access and everything. So it will take some time, yes, but definitely we'll see some of the first things this quarter or July now, right? No, June. This quarter, Q3, Q4. Coming to TheyDo.
Somewhere this year. I'm going to help you out.
Here earlier even, yeah.
All right. So the final thing, the bonus thing that was on our list before we jump into the Q&A, that was very exciting. Tell us more about this.
Yeah, so we were chatting to set the stage for tonight or today, if it's still afternoon or morning where you are. Governance, big hairy topic. You saw goal tracking, which is one of the cool things that are coming, but there's so much more that I've been introducing in the beginning that we are setting out to solve for. So presenting your work is one of the things that we have a lot of teams, not say struggle with, but can be like done in a way better, more efficient and more visible way. So presenting your work, part of the journey work that you do, showing the impact is one, but also access. Sounds boring. It's very interesting if you understand, like you have your company-wide blueprint, all your data aligned with that, and you're a public traded company, you don't want to have your interns to be able to access that. So how do you go about having access on certain levels? And the other thing that we hear a lot is the reporting and versioning. So really show the delta between like, hey, what was the customer experience a year ago? What have we achieved as a whole in the last year? And what is actually coming up? So presenting that today, we thought we are actually going to do a deep dive with you. We'll be in touch how and what. But first, we need to know what is the biggest one that you want to do. So ABC, I see everyone voting. And if you do other, let us know what the other is. We'll analyze the chat. I think that will be plotted into GPT and they will tell us what the biggest one was. But we're going to host a session, a workshop, a deep dive. That was the plan. Mark is going to facilitate that. So I'm curious what you have thought of and how you want to run that, Mark.
We'll see. We'll announce this somewhere during the summer. But this is going to be different than just a webinar like this. We definitely want to get more hands-on and be more practical. So if you haven't voted yet, please do so. We'll, again, as Joachim said, do the count. No date on this one, but as you know, we've been doing almost an event every month since the start of the year. So that shouldn't take us too long. Joachim, are you ready to do a rapid fire question round with the questions that are still open?
Yes, I am. Why not?
Awesome. Oh, cool. So if you're still with us, that's great. We'll take 14 minutes and see how far we come. Reka had a question. She was the very first one, and you had a beautiful maturity chart with level 5, which is journey excellence. Is there actually a company that you've encountered that has managed to reach that level?
I would say a few. Yeah, look, like excellence is almost like you do everything perfect or it doesn't count. But we have a few. So I will give you one example of Polestar, who we'll probably have in another session later this year. They actually have buy-in from their strategic leadership to operationalize their end-to-end customer journey or end-to-end blueprint, have assigned roles in many different ways and are actually executing against that across the entire company. So that is definitely one to look out for. I think they are doing phenomenal. Quite big in numbers is obviously NCR. I wouldn't say Florian would self-qualify as level 5, but they are actually operationalizing. It's a phenomenal skill in terms of like how many journeys and opportunities and teams they have working on it. It's crazy. So level 5, like journey excellence, like everything runs on journeys, and even your whole like executive committee is looking at your journeys only. There are none, but I'm not sure if that's the right way to put journey excellence. So there are a few. Yes, there are a few, but the majority is somewhere between 2 and 4.
And we'll try to invite level 5 organization onto the live stream somewhere in the future. Cool. I'm going to be a bit picky on the questions and sort of curate because John had a really interesting one. I think John left already, but the question was very interesting. If we had accessibility opportunities which could impact most journeys on site, would the AI engine see this and apply to all journeys if they feel they are relevant? And Hayden added to this, what about sustainability opportunities?
Yeah, maybe you can like define what your AI is going to look for, right? You can
exactly
like analyze for opportunity, but maybe you said like figure out in this with this goal. My goal is to make us more sustainable, or to reduce our CO2, or to, I don't know, make it quantified in any way you want. Find me the opportunities from the journeys that you think are relevant. I can definitely see that work. Yes, for sure. Like this is something we're going to uncover. You're going to be part of that if you sign up for it. But this sounds like a use case that is not too far away.
Yes, and there is a cat indeed spotted, and John is still here. Hopefully this answered your question, John. If not, just reach out to Johan on LinkedIn. He'll be happy to answer all your questions. Let's go to Ian. Is there a way to put a placeholder? This goes back to one of the things you had shown in the goal tracking, I think. A placeholder for a unknown portion of the journey when internal team has not yet been brought onto the journey management governance process. Does that make sense?
I hope I have the same like mental picture of what you aim to do. What we see some organizations do is they actually map out their ecosystem, their life cycle, their service architecture, however you want to call it, their journey framework. And then start with where they actually have influence on the journeys, but then they put in placeholder journeys and say, this hasn't been mapped yet, or this is an unknown territory. And then they do assign owners who are then part of the organization that aren't yet doing the work. So it is visible, it is known, there will be work coming, he or she is responsible for that, but it is not plotted. So I think that is, again, like the way you can set that up. Showing that gap in that way is quite powerful, to say, this is what we know, this is what we don't know. And then the don't know part is obviously big and blurry. So that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. So a question here. Let's take this one from Kurt around metrics. To add metrics, existing KPIs to relevant steps or touch points in the journey, the current metric management is a bit limited. Will TheyDo enhance the area of metrics in the near future? I think we already addressed this, and you shared the semantic goals. How did you, was that correct? Semantic goals?
I think this question is more on how you actually can bring all the data into TheyDo. For those who are still with us, let me show you one more thing. Who was the question from? What was his name?
Kurt.
Okay, Kurt. So they will be part of Insights, but what we actually are going to do, I don't have something from Tableau or BigQuery right now, or Google Analytics, but I'll just show you how bringing data in from Miro or Figma will look like. But basically, like, we can just bring any data that actually is living in your big data warehouse or your, let's say, BigQuery Tableau into the mix. So, oh, hang on, I think the Figma is easier to see. But here, let's bring in your Figma prototype. The same would happen with your data visualization of a certain data point. There you go. It's there, linked to your insights. So we're going to bring all of these to TheyDo. This is actually in staging already. So you can actually have all your metrics live into your journeys coming from the different sources you use.
And I think this was an actual question from Niels. So Niels, I'm going to mark this one as answered. If that's not the case, let us know. And Kurt was still here as well. So you got a preview of that as well. We're flying through this. There are 2 questions about very practical pricing packages and the free journey mapping for everybody forever. How will that impact existing customers? Can you share a few words around that?
Depending on what plan you have, our team will reach out to you. If you are on a plan that is not existing anymore, you can definitely write that out and rest assured that you will have some time to transition into some new plans. And our team will be with you to have that discussion. So I don't know what plan you are on. If you want to go to mapping, that's free. If you want to go to management or governance, then you can have a chat with our team. And if you're somewhere in between, then you will have some time to figure out if journey management or governance is for you. So there will be an easy transition for everyone. It's not going to be like tomorrow, everything will flip. So don't worry about that. I hope to see you in one of the plans that fit you.
Okay, I hope that answers that question. Then we just have 2 more. Let's do the one by Ian. Well, third one is coming in. Ian asked, where would you suggest we visualize and track our experiments? For instance, A/B tests, concept cars. What would be the place within TheyDo to actually show that you're trying stuff around solutions, opportunities, insights?
This will be your solution taxonomy. So
okay,
thinking about what different solution types do you have, like features or experiments, or in your case, like what was it about cars? So you can
concept
basically
cars, yeah,
concept cars, like concept car, real car, like prototype, like soap car, like you can have all these different stages for your solutions, and then start linking them and creating them as you go. And those will have status, those will have owners, those will have maybe, you know, a visualization of that concept car, if that is actually what you're doing. But that is something you can set your own taxonomy and bring that into the mix. So say, hey, how are all my experiments that are currently running doing? So you look at the type experiment and you look at the status running, or look at the status planned. And then you can actually have an overview of that. So I think that is where the repositories come in, the building blocks. So you can look at it on a journey level, but you can also look at it at the whole. So what are all the experiments? What are all the things? And setting those in the order can be done in TheyDo.
I sort of listened to your answer because I was also trying to read the next question by Alka, and it has to do with tracking impact, which is very interesting. What are your thoughts around like the before and after? So yes, we track goals, we track opportunities, we track solutions. Once a solution has been implemented, you actually want to see that it has made a tangible impact, most likely on your goal. How do organizations do this at the moment?
I hope you voted C, reporting and versioning. This is a big one, because you actually don't want to only look back, like look at what has happened, but you also want to look forward. I think what a lot of organizations today do, they have like a as is and a to be state of their journeys. I don't think that is the most effective way to do it, because like there are so many different variables in a journey that the current and the to be state are most likely not going to be met, or there's no linear version from one to the other. There are so many things happening in between. That's where opportunities come in, so you can actually start improving what is. The to be journeys are used for vision, for helping everyone to understand where you want to go to. But today there is no delta in between. And I think that will be part of our governance program, where we're going to give version control, see back or see through, or have that actually that answered, like, hey, what was the status 2 years ago? Or see time-based reporting. How many insights have we uncovered? How many opportunities are in progress this month, next month? How many solutions have we actually shipped, and how fast? like those can be also very valuable insights that we're going to bring to governance plans.
Yeah. So this versioning and this see-through, I like how you phrase that. It's going to be super interesting because it's going to allow you to get a snapshot of the process around journey management. Again, how fast, how much, how many, who, that's what you're going to see. I think the step towards impact, like the causality, that's very hard. It's, I don't know if you'll be able to do that, but you at least be able to manage the process and sort of trust that when the process works, the results will come.
Yeah, I think we should start with correlation. If we can start to do that right, then we can start to figure out causation, but it's probably one of the hardest parts to do.
It's yeah, exactly. It's anywho, 1 minute left. Really quickly. Fabian said, we work a lot with full story. I don't know that tool, but let's assume it's a good one to understand customer interaction, error measuring, etc. Since this is also recording sessions step by step, linking to the journey could be useful. Any plans? Are you familiar with full story, Johan?
Yeah, I actually saw them in US at Forrester. Yeah, no, I think that this is great. Like there's many of these like interaction based tools, like figuring out heat maps, understanding how people click, how they scroll, what they use. Those reports, whether they're live or actual reports, you saw me put them like the Miro and the Figma link into your insights. I think if Full Story allows that through API, we can pull them in. So that's probably the easiest way to do that. Having live videos of customers actually interacting with a certain touch point might be interesting. There's a few other contestants that we have planned for that, but I can't say much about it.
And that, Johan, was the final question on our Q&A tab. Big round of applause for you. Well done. Awesome that you stuck with us, everybody, on this session. Hope you enjoyed it. Johan, I really enjoyed it. Give us, I'm going to do a public, I'm going to put us on the spot. Give us a rating on a score from 1 to 10. And 1 is like, what have I done with my time today? To 10, I would have paid for this session. It was so good. How was this for you? Johan, we have so much more planned. The vacation is coming up. Summer break is coming up in the Netherlands. That's going to be a period of a bit slower pace, focusing maybe a bit more on the outside world than our computer screen. But we're definitely not going to sit still. Any final words of wisdom from your end?
Yeah, we work with a lot of people that are not in the Netherlands, so your summer holiday will be more chill than mine, I guess. This was lovely. Thanks so much, Mark. As always, a pleasure. And I really look forward to the next one where we are going to design a deep dive, maybe different format. And I think that will be really cool to do. So